Alright. Let's see here. Alright. Hey guys, ooh, that clipping. Hey guys, it's Casey Rollins back again with another episode of Countercaster. Actually, hold on for a sec. Um, let's see. I am a little bit tired and, need a little bit something to, spice things up. I need a little, energy shot here. Well, it's not energy, this is not a sponsorship. This is Pepsi. Alright, that's better. Hey guys, I'm Casey Rollins here for another episode of Countercast. So this is that podcast. It's a companion podcast to my YouTube channel, my VidTube channel, and my PeerTube channel, which are all called Counterpoints Media. Also a companion to my blog on I forget what instance it's on. But it's counterculture is what it's called. It's a companion to that as well. Yeah, this is that podcast where make sure you don't tell anybody that you're listening to it because I'm a transphobe. Oh man, this is cool. This is cool. So let's see. What should be the first thing to talk about? I have a couple things I want to talk about. I want to talk about free speech on the Fediverse, and why I think that the Fediverse needs, for sustainability, needs to move towards being peer-to-peer. But I think that last week I teased that I wanted to talk about why I think Trump should be retried for impeachment. So let's go here. So I always had an issue with the impeachment process, not just from the Democrat side, but also from the Republican side. My biggest issue with the Democrats was that this is supposed to be a thing where you have witnesses and you're supposed to actually call the witnesses that are relevant to the case. And oh, hold on, my aloe plant is over there and the window is not open. Let's open this bad boy up. All right, here we go. The instructions on the aloe plant said that I need to keep it in direct sunlight, and that was not direct. Anyways, but my biggest problem with the whole thing in the House was that, this is supposed to be a thing where, we have a fair investigation. You get, both sides. You have the witnesses, all the witnesses that are relevant to the case. You bring them in, and, you see what's what. Bring in all the evidence that you could find. In my opinion, the more evidence and the more witnesses, the better. Unless you're intentionally trying to stonewall investigation or slow it down. But even then, here's the thing. If you have information, okay, about the case, and that information is false or fake or inaccurate, you know what? You could just examine that in the investigation and in the investigation when you're trying it. You'd be like, this witness says such and such, but that isn't accurate according to, whatever evidence that we have. Okay. Well, you throw out the evidence or you throw out the witness, one of the two. But just because, I think one thing is, just because somebody's going to lie doesn't mean that they shouldn't be put in the trial. Let me put my wallet over here. It doesn't mean that they shouldn't be put in the trial. It just means that, they're just going to lie to your face and be guilty of perjury. You got to put them under oath. That's a big thing. You got to put them under oath. So you have that case, and here's another thing too: is that you can start. You could be like me, starting out thinking, oh, this piece of evidence, is going to be worthless, or it's not going to be relevant, or it's not going to be factual. I could be wrong. Here's the thing: and this is why I am not 100%. I'm very certain from what I've heard so far that Trump isn't guilty of anything, but I am willing to, leave that out on the table. It's certainly possible that Trump is guilty of something, something impeachable, and I feel like, nobody has given us a real chance to actually find that out. because we haven't put Trump up there, like, on the stand, where he could say something self-incriminating. There are also other people who are around Trump, like Giuliani, who also could have said incriminated things. And on the other side, sorry, on the other side, we have a lot of, like, people that the Democrats wanted to have, be witnesses in the Senate proceedings that didn't get to be in there. So I feel like, the Republicans should have been able to call whatever witnesses they wanted, and the Democrats should have been able to call whatever witnesses they wanted. Another thing I didn't like about it is that, dodging subpoenas. Trump was allowed to dodge subpoenas, and allowed to instruct his the people that work for him to just ignore whatever instructions they got. And people say come testify. They're like, nah, I'm good. you shouldn't be allowed to do that. Because like the law is law. If you get subpoenaed, then if you get subpoenaed, then you're supposed to actually go along with the subpoenaing. And people will be like, oh, Trump is above the law. Well, you didn't even hold his feet to the fire, because what happened was the Democrats were like, ooh, we subpoenaed Trump's underlings. Then Trump's underlings are like, no, really, I'm good. And Democrats are like, oh well. Like, it's the law. If you're subpoenaed, you're supposed to go along with it. Technically, those people, I think, were probably in violation of the law, except for the people where executive privilege truly applied. But in general, like, you get subpoenaed, you go. That's how the law works. So I was kind of miffed by that Trump didn't allow Trump didn't allow his underlings to actually go out and testify the way that they were supposed to according to the law. But the Democrats weren't perfect either. Like, the Democrats should have allowed the Republicans to bring in whatever witnesses they wanted, because another thing that was paramount to this was that everything was predicated on the fact that, well, here's the thing. There are two different cases that could be made for the reasons why the Democrats went after Trump. The first one was because they were like, well, Trump was on this witch hunt, okay, to go and get Hunter Biden, because it would probably damage Joe Biden when it comes to publicity and reflecting negative on his campaign for 2020. Okay, that's a fair guess. If you're not looking at any evidence at first light, investigating Joe Biden's son isn't really a good look when Joe Biden is running for president. But there's been some evidence that there was corruption there. So, which, by the way, I don't think that's been cleared up either. I don't think it's been concluded either way that Joe or Hunter or both were guilty. But then, of course, you have the problem. None of them were brought up to testify. And that clears up 50% of the possible arguments from the Democratic side. It's like, well, he's on this witch hunt trying to drum up some Trump charges on Joe Biden or on Hunter Biden about this whole Ukraine thing, when there was nothing there. Well, if we bring in all of the information regarding that instance, maybe there was something there, but I don't think we'll ever know, because Congress is far too partisan to let us know. Now, of course, we have the other argument, which is Trump should not have been investigating them at all, because man, my computer is loud. Trump should not be investigating them at all just because Hunter and Joe are related. Now, that's preposterous, because from the party that loves to be above the law and also accuse others of being above the law, they're also simultaneously and unsurprisingly saying Joe Biden should be under the law. Because here's the thing, because that sets a really dangerous precedent, like a really dangerous precedent. Because you know what that says, right? And that says if I am the political opponent of the person who is the president, then I can break the law, and he cannot use the law to or his officers or his executive power to go after me, because guess what? that means that you're persecuting a political enemy. No, that's not how it works. I feel like if you break the law, you should probably go to jail. Maybe I know that's controversial for a lot of people, especially in the Democrat Party, but I just think that's the case. Like, just because you fit some sort of agenda, socially, politically, otherwise, that does not mean that you should be exempt from the legal system. It was kind of cut and dry, which is why I think, this is why I think that me, a Republican, thinks that Trump should have been held. He should have had his feet held to the fire when he ordered people to stop subpoenaing, to ignore subpoenas, because that's not how the law works. The law doesn't necessarily work like, you have to abide by subpoenas only if you want to. No, honey. That's not that's not how it works. I'm sorry, dude. Like, no. But anyways, so that's basically it. My main reason, just to summarize my point, Trump needs to be retried because we haven't seen all of the evidence. And yes, some of it, actually probably a lot of it, or maybe even most of it is probably, it's probably not factual, is probably, just like slander and libel. But, we can examine that evidence when we accept it. And, determine whether or not this is viable or not. And then when we decide that it's not viable, we can throw it out. But if it turns out that we're ignoring information that might be, that might, like, end up being true and vital to the case, I don't think that we should just ignore it on the assumption that, it's probably not true. Nah, not good enough for me. You can't make assumptions. I hate making assumptions. It's a really dumb thing. It's an ignorant thing to do, but, it's a Democrat thing, so. Hashtag not all Democrats. Man, I'm talking about like kind of the establishment, the politicians. You know how they roll. Anyways, I would love to talk about free speech on the Fediverse, because a lot of people are like, especially I see on the right, are championing the Fediverse as like a place where free speech can reign, or solution to the free speech problem. It's not even close. Now, here's the thing. Of course, it depends on what you define the free speech problem as. Do you define the free speech problem as, you know what, this website isn't letting me say what I want to say? Well, when it comes to that, it could. If you find an instance that has rules that let you say things that you ordinarily like wouldn't be able to say, then sure. And then that solves your problem right there. But if you're talking about, in general, most people being allowed to say whatever they want, not even close. Not even close. Because you look at the Fediverse, okay? And, let's see, we have 4 million users right now. I don't know how many of those are active, but we have 4 million users. And 1 million of those users are on Gab. And Gab purports to be a free speech platform. I know there's nuance. There are some people who are saying they're cracking down on non-Nazis, but I don't know. I'm not sure, how that all works. I haven't like connected with enough FSE people, and I know that a lot of those cases have like nuance and things that I just don't have time to really go through. But let's just say, people have been kicked off of the platform while using their free speech. That's true. I know. I know of at least one time when that's been the case. So you do have that, but all the rest, 75 at least 75% of the Fedi is made up of instances that mostly have restrictions on like what you can and can't say, which is not a bad thing, because believe it or not everyone wants to say everything. So let's say there's expired mentality RIP, which is a kind of an interesting instance. I'm trying to figure out what the point of it is. It's a pleroma instance, and the way it works is like in the rules it says you cannot talk about politics. So naturally, I don't post from there very much. But I think the funny thing about that is, some people might be like, what? I can't speak my mind. This violates free speech. And like this is a travesty in the Fediverse. Well, no, because you know what? The Fediverse is not supposed to be like all things to all people. Not everyone wants to talk about politics. What if there's a professional gardener out there who doesn't need to be talking about like, Trump? And knows, I will never talk about Trump, and is willing to stand by the rules. There's nothing wrong with, like, instances restricting speech, because, it's well within their right. And actually, I think that instances need more tools to restrict the speech, because it would be a lot easier if they did, like, a lot of, like, word blacklisting and things. Because I think that would make it easier on the admins, because, being an admin is pretty hard. Especially when you have, like, an instance that has, like, so many users. It's not feasible for a small team of admins to be able to monitor a whole local timeline. So you have that. But I think there should be more instances that are less restrictive. Right now, I think FSC and I think Neckbeard are like the two, and also of course like FSC are like the three best instances as far as like not restricting what people say, especially like if you don't attract a lot of attention. So the only thing is like Neckbeard, they don't really block spam, but then again, with free speech, you can just block whoever is bothering you, which a lot of people are too lazy to do. Thus all of like the speech regulation laws and stuff. So it's like, Daddy, Mom, come pick me up. I'm scared. That's half of the Fediverse. But the big problem is if you want to say like outrageous things or things that are just outside of the mainstream, if you want to think freely, and you recognize, sometimes thinking freely means thinking outside of the box, and sometimes it means saying things that are controversial, that not everyone is going to agree with, not being like a safe, kind of YouTube-esque, content creator where it's like I'm going to say things that will keep me in good graces with admins, or not even that, but just like if you're not necessarily a safe person, that you can say edgy stuff, things that not everyone will agree with. Well, I feel like the Fediverse is not really a great place for you, and here's why. You have the issue of you do have instances that allow a fair amount of free expression, but then the problem with that is enough people get mad, because let's face it, the rest, most of the Fediverse in our instances, a lot of them are pretty much run like big tech instances, or big tech social networks, not in the sense that we're gonna make money off of selling your user data, but in the sense that they are policing and monitoring everything that you say. They make sure that you stay in the lines, and if you're not in the lines, boom, you're kicked off because you don't fit our agenda. A lot of instances are like that. All you've got to do is just look at the terms of service for Mastodon.social, and you'll see that that's the case. And one thing I hate about that too is that like a lot of them are like Weasley too, like transphobia. There isn't really such a thing as transphobia. I mean, maybe there is. I don't know how many reported cases there are, but there might be some. I don't know, somebody like whose like heart starts racing every time they're near a trans person, running out the room. Still don't. I still don't know, and I say this all the time. So people accuse me of being transphobic all the time. I still don't know of any case of transphobia that's more potent than my sister's arachnophobia. Let me tell you guys a story. Okay, so one time, my sister, she is thoroughly terrified of spiders. Like, she is like arachnophobia, like, she won't get into a coma over a spider, or she won't faint. But those are the only two things I would rule out. Here's what happened. Okay, so one time there was a spider in her room, and she was like, "Yo!" She came running out the room. Of course, not as she is wont to do. She comes running out the room, and he's like, "Oh, there's a spider in my room!" Like screaming and stuff. I have to calm her down a little bit and be like, "Okay, where's the spider? Like, come show it to me." And I go get a tissue because using tissues to kill spiders is something that men do. So I go and get this tissue, right? And I go to, get the spider. But then when I come back, the spider's gone. I think it was on the ceiling. I think it probably fell or something. But, nevertheless, I couldn't find the spider. So, I was like, you know what? I can't find the spider. And, I'm trying to play video games, so I didn't put it like that, but that was what was going through my head. Anyways, so, excuse me. Ooh, that was nasty. I'm keeping that in. So, I was like, you know what? Let me know if you find the spider. And then, I'll kill it for you. So, that was all that I heard of it, like, the entire day. Next morning, it turns out she did not even dare sleep in the room because she knew that the spider was still in there somewhere. She literally slept in the hallway because there was a spider in her room. Somebody show me a case of transphobia that's more severe than that. Yeah, it's annoying. Just people calling me transphobia, but it doesn't really matter because as Tony Stark said in Captain America: Civil War, I don't care. Because look, here's the bitter reality. I'm probably gonna end up getting banned from my instance eventually if I keep like speaking the truth, because that's very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable to say. Oh, you can't change your chromosomes. What? You must be transphobic. It's funny. Just the reactions. Like part of it is I love, like, part of it is just because, like, people rage like so much. Like it's almost like if you go on YouTube, and you watch those gamers who rage like whenever something doesn't go well, like go right in their game. It's exactly the same thing. Like, I say, like, something that's, like, a little bit, like, outside and not even outside, but it's, like, just factual and true. People rage. I got into, like, a 50-hour long tussle one time. Because people were like, you must be dunking on trans people talking about chromosomes. Like some pseudo-scientific nut. Must be calling people liars for being men and presenting themselves as women. That's bigoted. It's funny, but you know what? Here's the thing. A lot of people. First of all, a lot of the people who like who rage, who get extremely emotional and have like no control over their emotions whenever it comes to things like this. A lot of those people, they come from a place of wanting to be nice and wanting to be kind, and I sympathize with that because I'm an extremely empathetic person. I've definitely, like, multiple times, like, called out against, and I've talked about this, I think it was on the first episode, too. I called out multiple times against people who are, like, who are talking badly about these marginalized groups and essentially, like, bullying them when their lifestyle doesn't, like, fit whatever they want it to be. Because here's the thing. You cannot legislate morality. You can tell somebody, yo, don't do this, don't do that, do everything I tell you. But you know what? It doesn't change who that person actually is. They might go behind your back and do something that you don't want them to do. It's stupid. It's a dumb, stupid, idiotic game of whack-a-mole. You can't run around telling people what they can and can't do. Now, I can be like, well, this is how I'm going to perceive you, based on your behavior. If you lie to me, then okay, whatever. I'm going to say that you're lying. That's entirely different. I guess it's a little bit condescending, It's a little mean to call a liar, isn't it? Just a little bit. But part of me wonders if I should stop. Part of me is like, well, you didn't come here to be safe, did you? Oh man, this is gonna be fun. I honestly cannot wait for reactions to this episode. Okay, gotta gather my thoughts here. All right, so I hold nothing against people who disagree with me on issues like these, really, because they come from a place of their own morality. Not everybody has the same moral code. Now, of course, plenty of people are wrong, but they have the right to be wrong, and I'm not going to get mad at them because they genuinely believe what they're saying. I would think. I was going to say something about infanticide, but I'll get to that later. And trust me, infanticide is going to be a very relevant topic, you know, in the next 25 years. But that's beside the point. And all of that hinges, of course, on whether or not Roe v. Wade gets overturned, which is very likely, but, you know, we have to wait and see. But anyways, so, you know, I have, like, people who, you know, who rage against me, a lot of it is for entertainment. Because you know, you're not going to be able to change my mind that, you know, chromosomes don't make you man or woman. But if you're just going to, like, rage and stuff, it's just, like, funny to sit back and watch. Because I know you're not going to change my mind. You know, so why else would I engage with you? Unless it's just, like, to kind of, like, toy with you or just, like, kind of just, like, see how riled up you get. You know, one thing I love to see, though, for people who disagree, is, like, you know, find some common ground. I know one guy, funny enough, this was actually, like, the one of the admins on my instance. I kept trying to find at least some common ground to be like, okay, let's agree to disagree here. But he kept raging. It was funny. And that's one of the reasons why I think that I'm going to end up getting kicked off eventually. Because, you know, it's really hard when you have these very emotionally charged political things happening. And then you have, you know, an admin who's just trying to do the right thing, but is, like, completely diametrically opposed to the morality of one of the users. If, you know, like me, a lot of times, you know, sees somebody saying something that they disagree with, something that they disagree with, especially if they think that it's completely immoral, wants to be like, yo, what's up? I do that all the time. So I'm not necessarily blaming him, but it's gonna be hard to keep on supporting me. In my opinion, it's gonna be hard to keep on supporting me when I say things that he thinks are reprehensible. So we'll see how things happen. But it's like part of this kind of brings me back to the next topic that I want to talk about. So, and this is the beauty of the Fediverse, right? I have a bunch of instances I can go to when I get kicked off of quota, which is one reason why I've gone back to making more accounts, because I mean I'm seeing this coming from, you know, a mile away, more or less. But what? Oh, hold on. Oh wait.
Hey, can you can you take a photo for us?
Sure. Hey. Okay. All right. You want like this, or do you want it like this? All right. That's up to you. There we go. There we go. All right. There we go. Okay.
Thank you, Mark. Great shirt, by the way.
Oh, thanks. I got a custom design.
Ah, yes, I know.
Guess who's back? Back again. Okay, anyways. Somebody asked me to take a picture. Anyways, so this brings me back kind of to, like, the free speech thing, right? Is there a lot of people are like, you know, wait, no, it doesn't take me back to free speeching. Sorry, it takes me back to wanting the Fediverse. And this is my proposition. I want the Fediverse to be peer to peer, because it's kind of dumb and boring to just be like on this, like, nah nah boo boo, you can't cancel me. But, you know, while I'm doing that, it's a lot of work. I gotta bounce around all these different instances. I went from Gab to what did I go to after Gab? I went from Gab to OST Social to Quoto, and now we're seeing myself getting kicked off of Quoto, and I'm not sure, you know, what the next step would be. I did make a Gleasonator account, but I want that account to be, like, super chill, like a place to be like, you know, if I don't feel like talking about politics and having a rough day, just, you know, follow some people who are gonna say, like, nice things and cool things. They're not gonna be instigatory. Is that even a word? Just things. Just, I want it to be my chill place, right? So that's why I'm not following that many people. That's why I turned on the Gleasonator metrics thing, so that I couldn't see like how many likes or whatever people have, because I don't care. But I think somebody wants to get in. Nope, just people just getting loud. Anyways, like it's whack-a-mole. It's a whack-a-mole game, because then I have to like people hit me out of one hole, boom, got to go to another hole. Yeah, some people hit me out of that one, boom. So it's kind of tiring running around. But here's the thing: if imagine if the Fediverse was peer to peer. Imagine this for a second. You know what this means, right? This means literally everybody has their own instance, and it's like in the software. You download it, install it, start it up. You don't even have to do a sign in to verify like who you are. You just run the software, which that might be one little issue that some people might have a problem with. But you install the software, boom, you're good to go. You are self-hosting everything. I know that a lot of people like web-based solutions, but it's a small price to pay for sustainability. I feel like I've heard environmentalists say that, but it's true. It's just like it's not sustainable to be beholden to other people to protect your speech, because a myriad of things can happen. Here's another thing: I've been hearing that instances do not get funded that well at all. Nobody is like paying Gleasonator or Alex Gleason to run Gleasonator. He has a monthly goal. Hold on. I'm gonna pull this up right now, because I'm signed into the instance. Okay. Gleasonator, using the Gab software that he ended up forking. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Funding goal. He has a funding goal of $45 a month. This is the middle of the month, so we're halfway there. Halfway there, sure, but he's only got $5 out of 45 possible buckaroos for the month. So there's no way that he's even hitting $45 a month for running the instance. So it's definitely unprofitable when you have to like host this, this server, this big server to have all your files hosted on. Paying. I've heard it said, excuse me. I've heard it said that it takes like $15 a month, in operating costs to run a Fediverse instance. That, my friends, is way too much for something that's not going to give you $15 a month of revenue. But here's the thing: I have, and part of it is why it would inspire me to believe that this is doable, impossible, and very sustainable. I have a Plex server that I run. And I do it for fun. It's like DVDs that I bought that I ripped, boom, on there. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Nothing complicated to it. And it doesn't cost me anything to run them, because another thing too is demand will be lower. I cannot imagine a user where a whole lot of people are going to be like downloading all of the files all at the same time. So bandwidth should not really be an issue, especially considering that most of the data, unless you're like posting trailers every day or full movies or something, like most of the requests, they're all going to be like text, maybe some smallish pictures or something, maybe high resolution. I don't know what you guys post on the Fedi, but it's I feel like it's just so much better. You self-host everything. Sure, instances might be unstable, but you know what? You can just always come back later. I think like instability of the server is probably the worst issue that you'd have to come across. But other than that, it's fine. Especially if everything becomes so decentralized to the point now where you only host your own content. This removes issues of legal liability for files. Like the JoJo situation would be like far easier if it were peer to peer. You know why? Because JoJo posts whatever picture that he posts. Okay, people are like, whoa, that's crazy, bro. Like that's illegal stuff. But you know what? Nobody's caching that data now. You know, FSE no longer has any like P. Let's say the P is self-hosting his own Mastodon instance, and he's like, you Jojo, that's gross, that's disgusting. Stop. But but you know what? He has no liability because he's not downloading any files. He's just viewing them, essentially streaming. Like it doesn't download and save to his phone when he uses it. And another thing too that would be cool is you can sync it. So you have you have the Mastodon like software on your phone and on your laptop. Whenever you post something on your phone, it pulls down to your computer. And if you want to pay somebody to also like pull whatever posts you post, then that'd be fine. And if they try to cancel you, you still have your computer where you can also continue to be peer-to-peer with all the other Fediverse instances. But, it's going to cost less because it's like, this is only just for me. This is only just for me. So, I just really, really, really love the idea of the Fediverse becoming peer-to-peer. It's just so fascinating. Like, when I consider that, because I love, self-hosting, but when you consider, the complete and utter decentralization of the Fediverse is really... I feel like it's the utopia of what people are looking for. Because here's the thing. We got big tech, right? We got Twitter. Like, billions of users on Twitter. Twitter is probably bigger than the majority of nations in the world right now. Okay? But it's centralized. If you get kicked off of Twitter, you can use a fake email. Sure, maybe. But they might catch you eventually. So essentially, if you go according to the rules, you get kicked off, you are not coming back. Okay? That's how it works. But with the Fediverse, I don't have to worry about that. If I get kicked off in one instance, boom, I'm back up on another one. So it's the decentralization is better like that because then you can still have conversations with the same people that you were having before when you left. And I think that's kind of the key and one of the issues why people have problems whenever Twitter bans somebody for speech that's ideological. But with all of that said, it's still not 100% decentralized. Instead of being, decentralized and no centralization. No, there's plenty of centralization, my friend, because it's just a network of centralized servers. So, it's and then of course you also have, I've talked about join Mastodon. I'm not going to talk about that again because it's something that a lot of people are already taking up the cause on and being like, yo, this is dumb, this is bad. So I'm not going to continue talking about it. I must say, though, I find it interesting that, I don't know. Maybe it's not so weird, considering that Quoto is supposed to ban hate speech, but they also define hate speech in a really good way. So I guess it's not surprising that they're allowed on joinmastodon.org. But anyways, I think that's pretty much all I had to say. That was political anyways. But I am, I keep on talking about my Q video. I just haven't had the motivation to work on it. But this episode is actually taped on the same week as the last episode. So I'm probably going to end up having some time to work on it. So we'll see what happens. I still have the audio file on my computer of me doing the voiceover stuff. I'll have to re-listen to it. I'll have to listen to it again because I can't remember if the script is something that's actually high quality or if it's just something that's meh or something that's trash. So I'm gonna have to re-examine it again. I'll talk about it on the Fediverse and see if it's something that is worthy of being a video essay. But I am looking forward to getting back into video essays. I'm gonna have more time next week too, because excuse me, I simultaneously don't have as much homework, and also I'm not gonna have to tape this next week either. So those two things working in my favor. Also being single and not having extra obligations on how to spend my time. That was funny. Yeah, I'm taping this right after Valentine's Day, which was actually pretty epic. Maybe I guess I might as well talk about this a little bit. So it was pretty epic. Me and my best friend, who's also single, just spent the entire afternoon together. We went to go. We hung out. We saw. We watched Princess Bride. just for kicks. Went and watched 2 episodes of Parks and Rec. Played a little bit of Halo. And then we played like several hours worth of Minecraft until like 2 or 3 in the morning, which is super cool. Super cool. So, forgot to get him flowers. I probably should. But yeah, it was funny. It was like, yo, man, nobody got me flowers. But then again, I never have anyone to give me flowers. Then my RA was like, I gave you this aloe plant. Or aloe plant. Is it aloe or aloe? I gave this aloe plant. But anyways, I think somebody wants to come inside. Let's see. Nope. Well, things are kind of busy. I think some people want to hang out with me and have fun, so I'm gonna wrap this puppy up. And I hope you guys enjoy this episode. You know, if it got under your skin, please let me know because I enjoy seeing y'all rage. You know, SJWs, keep up the good work. Oh man, this is. Part of me wonders. Is this episode gonna be more controversial or less controversial than the one with Alex Gleason? Which, by the way, I need to get that dude up like pretty soon, like on a new episode, because there are so many things we could talk about. I imagine we could do a 2-hour long podcast. Like that would be insane. Having him back on to talk about politics, because we both, I think, have the same level of empathy for people, and we both recognize like issues in the system for the most part, but we disagree. Like I think we disagree a lot on different like ideological stuff, and so that would be really fun to hash out. Like here's the thing, my college is pretty much ideologically homogenous. I rarely get a chance to talk to people who disagree with me, which is like one big reason why I enjoy like talking about politics in the Fediverse and listening to the SJW's rage, because I don't get a lot of that in real life, and I don't have cable, so I can't see that on well, okay, that's a cop out. I can listen to pretty much all of the Fox News shows when they air at night and early in the morning on Fox News Talk. I can also listen to CNN and MSNBC on TuneIn Radio, but I just don't because I am lazy. Lazy slap of a man. Anyways. Sorry. Thanks guys for listening to this train wreck of an episode. Please tell me how bad it was. And also, by the way, please let me know what it was that I did to make you triggered so that I could continue to do so in the future. This is my job. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I changed my my description to be, I think it said I'm the official non-alt-right intellectual Molotov cocktail of the Fediverse. And it's accurate. See? Yeah. Anyways, thanks guys for listening. I'll probably be back next week. It might be taped again, like, way in advance. Actually, probably not. I'm too lazy, and I let my ADHD take over, so I'm probably not gonna... Okay, I'm getting into the weeds. Bye.